Welcome to That's Based. Happy Monday. It's Unsolicited Advice, where Mia has scoured the internet, excuse me, for various stories from folks who are in need of some help, and we're going to try to give them that help, although we may not be the folks they were looking for those answers from. I'm your host, as always, Caleb Salvatore. We are laughing our way through the end of days, reporting from somewhere underground, brought to you by Outlaw Streamers and our friends over at Blood of Tyrants Wines. DrinkBloodofTyrants.com, promo code BASED, B-A-S-E-D, like the title of the show. They got something for everybody. 2 types of wine, red and white, along with the Liquid Freedom energy drink, as you can see pictured over there. That has 0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 carbs, 0 fucks given, all natural ingredients. I can't say it's all natural because they use a juicer to squeeze those all-natural ingredients out. As it turns out, juicers are not found in nature. So everything else, all natural. DrinkBloodofTyrants.com, promo code BASED, B-A-S-E-D, like the title of the show. Will save you 10% off your order at the checkout. Do yourself a favor, get you a 6-pack of the Liquid Freedom energy drinks. Okay. All right. Stockholm Mia, the red face of white supremacy, is here with us as always. How is it going today? How are you? Oh, she went for her drink rather than...
I'm good.
She's having a real one today. That's so Mia. So today I took down I made the decision and begun the takedown of all of the Christmas decorations in the house, as it is February. So the hierarchy of villains in our house is I'm now at number 1. Satan is number 2, then Hitler, Voldemort, then Scooter Braun, who's right above Stalin. Those 2 bounce back and forth depending on the day. Bin Laden, all of them. There are others receiving votes, like in college football.
We are the only block on the neighborhood to have taken our Christmas.
You mean the only house?
We're the only house in the neighborhood to have taken our Christmas
yes.
decorations down.
We are, that's
Everyone
not just,
is still celebrating Christmas except for
that's
us.
not just our neighborhood, though. I drive her all over town. No one's taking their shit down. People are just being lazy. I don't know what it is, but it's all over town. It's not exclusive to us. We're going to start the trend. I don't care. I want it down. It's February. Christmas time is over. The church does not recognize Christmas time. The whole season's over. It's not up for debate. We're done. I don't want to see it anymore. We got the Super Bowl party coming up next Sunday. I don't want the Christmas tree up. Don't want it up. Okay. We good? We're good. I am your host, like I said, as always, Caleb Salvatore. And I've got to say, there have been some allegations swirling since the weekend. I am not. I'm going to make this one time. I'm going to say this on the air. I can't believe I even have to do this. I am not, nor have I ever been, a proud boy. I am not a proud boy. In fact, I didn't even know that the Proud Boys were still a thing. So when someone refers to me as and I quote, literal Proud Boy, end quote, let me break down what the weight that allegation carries. First off, that group is recognized as a domestic terrorist organization and a violent criminal gang. So if you want to call me a racist or a transphobe or whatever, those things are wrong, but that's just a matter of opinion, right? We have different definitions of those, and that's fine. When you make objective claims that I'm a member of a group, by the way, which me being affiliated with could carry significant weight for me in multiple ways, along with the other people you've accused of it, them more than me, some of them, you're making an objective claim that can either be proven or disproven. I will give you $500 if you can find any proof that I have been an, and I quote, literal Proud Boy, end quote, at any point in my life. It's not true. I know you retards listen to this show because you have nothing better to do. And let me this is your verbal warning, okay? If I see my name affiliated with the word Proud Boy, or Proud Boys, plural, ever again, letters from attorneys are going to start going out. And I know you don't have anything to sue for, but I don't care. I will pay an attorney so we can garnish your wages because I hate you that much. Are we good? All right. Let's read from the Book of Conspiracies, Mia. Are you ready to do this?
I'm watching the Grammys from our neighbors.
Oh my God, stop it. You can't, you're breaking the law and you're admitting to it on air. See, she's the Proud Boy. Are you a proud girl? Can women join the Proud Boys?
I'm a proud girl.
I should know, since evidently I'm a member of it. You're a proud girl. So, you know what's funny is if you look the founder of the Proud Boys Up, Gavin McInnes, he actually looks like an older version of me. He looks like an older version of me. He's a former comedian. His wife is Native American and Hispanic. Have you seen this guy? Let me pull a picture up on my phone real quick. Those of you listening, Gavin, his name's spelled weird, so I'll just pull it up on my phone. I mean, the guy has an eerie amount of shit in common with me. Gavin McInnes, the founder of the Proud Boys, but I am not, nor have I ever been, a member of the Proud Boys. Isn't that an eerie? How much that guy looks like me? What are you doing?
Put that on the charger.
Are you serious? Are you serious right now? All right, let's read from our conspiracy Bible real quick here. How many pages is this one? Okay. The plot to assassinate President Truman. Remember, we're doing this now. Every episode, every episode that doesn't have a guest on it or an interview, we're going to be reading a new chapter, a new segment of the Great American Conspiracies book that I got for sale at Kohl's. It was on Amazon. I found it cheaper on Amazon because I didn't want to wait in the 12-person line at Kohl's. So it says, the plot to assassinate President Truman. Puerto Ricans have sought independence from the U.S. for decades. In 1950, two ardent nationalists took matters into their own hands as part of a campaign to win independence through violent means. Their target, President Harry Truman. Members of the Puerto Rican Nationalist Party were spoiling for a fight. They had tried and failed to reach their goal of independence through electoral participation. By the 1930s, party leader Dr. Pedro Albuzo Campos was advocating a campaign of violent revolution. Throughout the 1930s and 1940s, the Nationalist Party was involved in one confrontation with another. In 1936, Albuzo was charged with conspiring to overthrow the government and was incarcerated. He spent the next 6 years in jail in New York. When he finally returned to Puerto Rico in 1947, the tinder of nacionalismo puertorriqueño was bone dry and smoldering. Says the match is lit. On October 30th, 1950, nationalists seized the town of Jayuya. With air support, the Puerto Rico National Guard crushed the rebellion. Griselio Torresola and Oscar Collazo, two nationalists, decided to retaliate at the highest level, the President of the United States. They had help. This is like the crazy people that try to report your business to the president when they're upset with you. But these guys, it's the opposite. They're like, we got to take the president down. This is how we got to do this. They had help from a natural wastage. The White House, which looks majestic from the outside, has been quite the wretched dump at many points in its history. By 1948, it was physically unsound as the Truman family moved to Blair House. It would be a lot easier to whack a president there than it would have been at the White House. This is what the book says. I am not giving anyone advice on how to do anything. I'm just reading this. It says the attempt at 2:20 p.m. November 1st, 1950, Torresola approached the Pennsylvania Avenue entrance from the west with a 9mm Luger pistol. Collazo came from the east carrying the Luger's cheaper successor, the Walter P38. They tried to whack the president with a .38. Are you fucking kidding me? White House police guarded the entrance. Truman was upstairs taking a nap. Collazo approached the Blair House steps, facing the turned back of Officer Donald Birdsell and fired, shattering Birdsell's knee. Wait a second. So you shot this guy in the back and hit him in the knee? These are the guys that were going to overthrow the government. You shot him point blank in the back and hit him in the knee. Oh, my goodness. Nearby officers Floyd Boring and Joseph Davidson fired at Collazo through a wrought iron fence without immediate effect. Birdsell digged himself after Collazo firing his pistol. Then bullets from Boring and Davidson grazed Collazo in the scalp and the chest, seemingly minor wounds. Out of ammo, Collazo sat down to reload his weapons. This guy was not going out without a fight. He was going down, right? We're going down swinging. Says Officer Leslie Koffelt staffed a guard booth at the west quarter as Torresola took him unaware. Koffelt fell with a chest full of holes. Next, Torresola fired on Officer Joseph Downs, who had just stopped to chat with Koffelt. Downs took bullets to the hip and then the back and the neck. He staggered to the basement door and locked it, hoping to deny the assassin's entry. Torresola advanced on Birdsell from behind as the officer engaged Collazo and fired, hitting his other knee. Birdsell lost consciousness as Torresola reloaded. Weapon recharged. Oscar Collazo stood and then collapsed from his wounds. At that moment, a startled Truman came to the window to see what was the matter. So, how bad is the Secret Service here? How bad? So you've got just a gunfight going on in your front yard, and they let you near the window? This was pre-Kennedy, I guess, but still, like, you'd think, like, hey, whole shootout. Hey, Mr. President, why don't you go sit in the bathroom like it's a tornado for a little bit? You know, something like that. It says Torzolo was 31 feet away. If he had looked up at precisely the right moment, the nationalist would have achieved his mission. Officer Koffelt had one final police duty in life. Despite 3 chest wounds, he forced himself to his feet, took careful aim, and fired. A bullet splattered the brain matter of Griselio Torresola all over the street. Koffelt staggered back to the guard shack and crumbled. Collazo survived and was sentenced to death before leaving office. President Truman commuted his sentence to life imprisonment. That is called forgiving thy enemies. Officers Downs and Birdsell recovered. Officer Leslie Koffelt died 4 hours later. The Secret Service's day room at Blair House is now named the Leslie W. Koffelt Memorial Room. Wouldn't that would make a good movie, or maybe like a Netflix like miniseries? I think that would be a good. Who would play the cop that took the bullets but saved the day? Would it be like I think Woody Harrelson would be good for that role. What do you think?
Too old.
Too old? Who could play him then? Who are you going to get? Justin Bieber? I mean, what are you going to do here? Okay, let's go.
I mean, he's not. Woody Harrelson isn't old, but I think he's too old for that specific role. You know what I mean? It'd have to be someone like more middle-aged.
Could be Danny McBride. It's a comedy series. Okay, what do you have to say about these stories before we dig into them?
Got a shitty mom.
Always.
Some tranny stuff in there.
Some what?
Tranny stuff.
Tranny freak show stuff.
Tranny
Okay.
freak show stuff. I forgot what the other one was.
Okay. All right, let's go to the next. All right, let's go to this first one. Am I the asshole, or is this relationship exhausting? That is the name of a Facebook group, and this is an anonymous member. All posts are anonymous. We're not going to out these people. That would not be cool. It says, am I the asshole for letting my daughter eat on a table that had my boyfriend's weed on it? Never mind, we are going to out this person. We're calling CPS immediately. It says, it was dark in the room because my boyfriend was taking a nap and my daughter told me she was hungry. I made her some food and then set it on our little rolling table. Oh, my God. On our little rolling table and rolled it over to her. I didn't notice he had a little bit of weed spread out on the table because, again, dark, nor would I know that because I don't smoke. Okay, but you still enable it, right? You still enable it. This doesn't make it okay that it's going on in the house where the kid is. You understand that, right? We can go to any level of extreme. You may not be the one molesting the kid, but if your boyfriend is, you're still a scumbag for allowing it to take place. Now, obviously, this is a way less extreme scenario, but you're trash for letting this happen in the house with your kid. Scum. Scum. I hate stoners. I don't have a problem with weed. I hate stoners. They're the most embarrassing people on earth. They are the worst. We should truly, they deserve the death penalty. They are the worst people on the planet. Again, don't mind if you smoke weed. It's these retards like this that make it their entire personality and do stupid shit like this that I have the problem with. Said she was eating and I came in from walking the dogs and he woke up and asked for a drink. I brought it to him and started freaking out where this table was. I told him our daughter was eating on it and he started yelling at me about his weed. I asked him what weed and went over to look. I had used the phone on my I'm assuming this flashlight on my phone to find it and scooped it up. He starts yelling at me about how she spilled. So this is the concern. So she's picked a winner here. So he's not like, oh my God, you let the kid around the weed. You're a horrible parent. What's about it? He's worried about the weed. That's his chief concern. So she's picked a winner here. She's picked a winner. They're eating off their rolling table. These are some classy people here. They're going places in life. Clearly, we should all aspire to be like these people. Also, he woke up when you got home from walking the dogs and asked you for a drink. Tell the lazy fuck, is he paralyzed? Is he sick in bed? Tell him to get up and get a drink himself. Am I off base here or is she dating a shitbag? And you're a shitbag for exposing your kid to this shitbag. How much you want to bet this is like the 5th guy that her daughter's called daddy? No?
That's the daughter's dad.
No. So even worse, you let the shitbag cream pie you. You disgust me, you piece of filth. Starts yelling at me about how she spilled some of it, and I'm an idiot, blah, blah. Well, you are. I agree with him on that. You are an idiot. That is correct. You are an idiot. Said, I have no idea if some of it was spilled or not because I have no idea how much was there to begin with. I asked him why he thought it was okay to leave literal drugs out when we have a 4-year-old in the home. Said, it's my table. You guys aren't supposed to be you. Well, I guess with that stone cold logic, yeah. I take back everything I said about him. He's too smart for me. It's my table. You guys aren't supposed to be using it. Or, just don't leave drugs out for a 4-year-old. You could do that. Always an option, right? Says, well, it's not his table every night when we eat dinner. So is this their rolling table, the dinner table, or like a hybrid? What is this? Is this his personal table? And we don't have a dining room. Believe me, you didn't have to add that part. I had a feeling you didn't have a dining room table. Something tells me you don't have sheets or a bed frame either. Says we don't have a dining room table. We have 2 large dogs. So where exactly is my 4-year-old supposed to eat? Am I the asshole here? You're not. I mean, yes, you are an asshole, but he's an asshole too. It's not a matter of who's wrong because you're both in the wrong. He just happens to be more in the wrong than you are. You're wrong for a whole slew of reasons. Number one, of course, being that you are a woman. But number two, being the fact that you let this guy knock you up. The fact that you let this guy continue to use drugs in the house with a child. You're scum. You're scum. You're scum. You know what the problem with this country is, Mia? Truly the problem with this country. It's not that not enough people are having babies. It's not that too many people are having babies. It's that too many people like that are having babies. The right people are not having enough kids, and the wrong people are reproducing like rabbits. And people like that are the ones I'm talking about. That's the big problem with this country, because idiots raise idiot kids. Even if so, let's say you make 4 idiot kids, right? Or let's say idiots make 4 kids. 3 of those kids are going to be idiots. Yeah, of course, 1 out of every 4 or 5 is going to turn out to do pretty well, but you're still going to make 3 idiots. So it's a net negative on the world. The wrong people are having children. Now, I don't think it should be illegal for people to have children. I just think we need to start encouraging the right people to have more children, and vice versa. Maybe saying, hey, if you take this IQ test, maybe we're not going to pass a law that says you can't have kids, but we think you should strongly reconsider it. Okay, let's go to the next one here. Am I the asshole for not giving my trans daughter my mother's noose? No, it says ring. I posted this on Am I the Asshole, and they removed it because one of the mods really thinks I'm an asshole. Okay, I have added a few more details in here that people asked for, or people asked about before it was removed. I haven't removed anything. A few people said that if this is me trying to sound like I'm not an asshole, then I must be a huge asshole in real life. This is me being as real about these things as I can. Can I have a drink of that? It says, I, male 52, have 2 children. We'll call Bob, male 26, and Meg, F22. Thank you. Meg was born male, but began to transition to a female a year ago. So, male. Mike, we're going to call Meg. Mike, okay? My dad gave my mom a very large and expensive diamond ring for their 30th wedding anniversary, and when she died in 2009, her will stated that everything went to my dad except that ring, which is to pass on to the next born female in our family. I have 1 sibling, a brother, and like me, he didn't have a daughter, so we just figured one of us would eventually have a granddaughter, and she would get the ring. Sounds reasonable. I can imagine where this is going to go, right? I can imagine where this is going to go. That ring was last appraised in 2004 for $1.2 million. You know what? I might put on a skirt and call myself Meg, too, if $1.2 million were on the line. Says, I do not know what it's worth now. Meg and I have always had a contentious relation. Mike and I have always had a contentious relationship. He was always having problems in school, always causing problems with his mom and brother, and wouldn't listen to anyone. Never held a job for more than a few weeks. Has been arrested. Why is this always the trend? It's always, you never see someone who's doing well in life decide to change genders. And even when they do change genders and they're supposedly, being their true selves and genuinely happy now, they still aren't doing too well in life. Sometimes even objectively worse. It's like, maybe your gender not being affirmed was never your issue, and the mental illness that's being undiagnosed, but since it's easier to just give you pills and sell you weekly therapy sessions by affirming your gender, that's what they do rather than actually helping you. I don't know. Maybe I'm onto something. Maybe I'm a quack. Who knows? Says, Meg and I just been a tough kid to raise. He still lives. He's using the preferred pronouns, by the way. I am the one who is calling Meg by the correct gender. He still lives with us, and we're basically still paying for everything. A few weeks ago, he said that he wants my mother's ring. I thought he was kidding, but when I said no and kind of laughed about it, he exploded and called me all kinds of names, threw food all over the kitchen before storming out. I wanted to change the locks while he was gone, but you should have. But I calmed down because I know that would probably lead to a bad outcome. My wife initially agreed with me, but has now started to think that Mike should get the ring. I'm absolutely not going to give him the ring. Here is why. It would fracture my relationship with my brother. I'm not 100% sure that Mike didn't transition specifically to get this ring. He said several times that we're dumb not to sell it. A lot of people really took issue with this, and it's the reason my post was deleted. While it's extreme to transition just to get a ring, children have murdered their parents for less money. Fair. That was my theory from the get-go. This isn't even a real tranny. Says Meg has already asked his grandparents and us for his share of the inheritance. I hate the thought of it too, and I hope it's there. See, on its own, maybe not enough. It's just speculation, but he's already asking for the inheritance. Even though this wasn't an issue my mother ever thought about, I'm positive that she wouldn't want a trans female to have the ring. She wanted the ring to be passed down from daughter to daughter so that no one could ever lose it in a divorce. Currently, my daughter dates women, which could lead to the exact problem my mom wanted to avoid. Yeah, I mean, here's what it boils down to, is the ring was possession of your mother. It was your mother's ring. If she wouldn't approve of it being passed on to a man, then it doesn't go to a quote-unquote trans woman. That's not how it goes. She had a different worldview, and Meg is going to have to learn to accept that. But that's the problem with these people, is it's not enough that you let them do their thing and live their lives. You have to be 100% on board with it too and play along with the delusions. Otherwise, you're the bad guy. That's the whole issue here. That's my problem with it when I talk about negative rights versus positive rights. We're not just saying, hey, we want to get married and be able to get, the same right to a job and a house and to vote that you have. No, we want punishments for people who don't play along with our delusions. And that's where the line should be drawn. Said number 4, someone mentioned she could detransition after getting the ring. I haven't even thought of that. Even though I'm not happy about it, I'm willing to accept my daughter as she is. And I try my best not to dead name her and use the right pronouns. A lot of people said hateful things about me being transphobic. And if that's how you feel, consider that I still support her. She's on my insurance. Oh, there you go. That's not the most millennial thing you've ever heard. She's on my insurance. I guess she'd be Gen Z, huh? And I pay for his medication. That insurance doesn't. It's been hard on the whole family, and we're all doing the best we can. His doctor said that being transgendered may be the reason he struggled so much growing up. And at the end of the day, I just want my kids to be healthy and happy. Well, letting them chop their dicks off is not going to. Anyway, I don't feel like I'm being an asshole here, but with my wife starting to question the situation, I thought maybe I'd get some outside perspectives. The ring is in a safe deposit box in another city. Mike doesn't even know who to contact in order to see if he'd be eligible for the ring. If one of us has a cis granddaughter that isn't responsible and would want to sell the ring, I would do all I could to stop the transfer unless there are stipulations in the will. Unless there are stipulations in the will for that, which there might be. I would have really no choice. I have not told Meg that. I suspect he transitioned just to get the ring. I was talking to my wife about it because so many people have mentioned how crazy it is, and it doesn't seem crazy to me, and my wife verbalized it better than I did. She's always treated us, but especially me, like a resource and not family. Well, your child is Narcissist. Is that a good word? Am I using the right word? Narcissist? No, you're not. You already knew how I was going to land on this. No, you're not the asshole. Of course you're not the asshole here. It's a legitimate concern. Your son is also not your daughter. No matter how much makeup he puts on, no matter how long his hair grows out, no matter what type of clothing he wears, no matter what type of locker room he demands the quote-unquote right to be able to walk around naked in, your son is your son. He is a man with a mental illness or fetish, depending on how you look at it, may be the same thing. Now that we've established the baseline, this is clearly a money line, because here's the thing. This is, in my opinion, what's going on here. I don't think that the daughter, I don't think that your son transitioned just to get the ring. But, Mia, correct me if I'm wrong here. Something tells me that as is often the case with things like this, that the so-called transphobia is being weaponized as a means to achieve an end. Something tells me here that if this was your mother's ring that was worth $1,500, that this issue wouldn't even have come up. Do you agree with me here? If this were a ring that were, your run-of-the-mill, every kiss begins with K, jeweler's ring, you wouldn't even be hearing about this discussion. You're just this is a convenient vehicle labeling you a transphobic piece of trash for your son. It's your son. I don't care how accepting you try to be. To get his hands on this ring. I think that's what this is. And I think this guy's absolutely right to be guarded by it. Again, I don't think the whole transition was staged just to get the ring, but I do think that that's the angle they're playing here. I don't think it would be an issue if this weren't such a valuable piece of jewelry. That's my 2 cents. Do you have anything you'd like to add on that?
Yeah, I think there is probably a really good possibility that they're doing it just to get the ring. Because, that's
faking
smart.
Being trans?
Yeah. Honestly, that's smart.
Yeah. I joked about it earlier on, and this guy was like, there was also evidence to back up that maybe that joke wasn't such a joke after all. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you got $1.5 million on the line? Well,
yeah.
More now.
If our son decided to become our daughter, would you pay for his medication?
Hell no.
No chance. No chance. Yeah, I saw another interesting dilemma that was posed on a different podcast. Let's say our daughter started doing porn. Would you support her lifestyle? I'm not saying totally abandon her. I'm not saying be a fan of what she's doing. She calls up, Mom, I need $300 or I'm going to get evicted. Do you give her the money if she's doing porn, or is it with the condition that you're out of this business by the end of the month? What do you think?
Sorry. Do you mean give her the money? So I'm going to give you the money, but you need to be out of the porn business.
Yes, you can move back in with us, but you're out of this industry.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. What if you give her the money and she doesn't do it?
I guess there's nothing you can really.
Yeah.
You can't
tough
take
predicament.
Back the money.
Oh, I could go get it. No, because you would just not tell me. That's but if you, it's long. Now I saw that proposed on a podcast. If your daughter, the question was OnlyFans, which is a little bit different because they're doing that on their own usually, unless they're with an Andrew Tate thing. Porn is, look, selling your body on its own is bad enough. I would have the issue with working in an industry with that many scumbags that's that demonic and that closely associated to human trafficking. If she were doing her own thing, probably still going to cut her off if she's doing her own thing. Would you? She's doing her own thing on the premium Snapchat or whatever, probably still going to cut her off.
The
OnlyFans, not working for an Andrew Tate.
It's hard. I wouldn't want to cut my kid off.
I'm not saying you don't love her anymore. What's that?
I wouldn't want to cut my kid off just for doing that, because if she's doing that, she's probably not in a good place.
Yeah?
So I wouldn't want to cut them off.
What about we'll help you, but you stop doing that?
Yeah.
That would be...
I could do.
But the gravy train don't... As long as you're selling naked pictures of yourself, the gravy train stopped. You don't get any money, right?
Yeah.
Like, is that a fair medium?
I think that's a fair medium.
Now, if it were feet, I wouldn't give a shit. I think guys who are into foot fetish type stuff, they absolutely deserve to be milked for every penny they have. They're human garbage. They deserve it. So that's a different. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to know about it. But I wouldn't be as upset about that. Okay, let's go to the last one here. Am I the asshole for calling my husband's daughter a little bitch? Okay, it says, I, 32 female, been with my husband for 3 years. My husband's ex-wife is an absolute narcissist. It ended their marriage. She was unfaithful and abusive. We have shared custody of a 16-year-old daughter, and we have an 8-month-old together. So, before we go any deeper, I haven't read these stories yet until, obviously, we go live on the air. Do you think they called the 16-year-old or the 8-month-old the bitch? Which one was being the bitch?
The 8-month-old.
The 8-month-old? Okay.
It's always the 8-month-old.
You little
bitch.
Says his daughter has never liked me. She took the divorce. So obviously talking about the 16-year-old. Took the divorce very hard. She doesn't listen to me so badly that her father always has to step in. He's been violent and aggressive. I've really tried having bonding time with her, but she doesn't engage. Are we going to bypass the violent and... Okay. The violence and aggression toward the little girl? Okay. We are. All right, cool. It says, I recently started going to the gym trying to get my body back, which I saw my stepdaughter there. I said hi. I was completely alone. When I got home, my husband was waiting for me at the table and said my stepdaughter texted him and said she saw me working out with some man. Oh, no. She deserves to be called a little bitch for this. Because when I knew where this was going, as soon as I saw that I was alone at the gym part, and the first thought that came into my head was that diabolical little bitch. They hadn't even said what she had done yet, but I knew where this was going. So if my instinct was to call her a bitch and you've had to put up with this narcissistic abuse for God knows how long, you were 100% warranted in calling her a bitch. I told him that was untrue. A few weeks later, she told him again. She had told him again and came up with how she's been seeing us but didn't want him to be hurt. I assured him it wasn't true, and it began causing arguments with us. Then my stepdaughter faked a screenshot and showed my husband, saying she went through my phone when I was asleep. I tried showing him it was fake, and she stepped away and saying I deleted it because it was there last night. Oh, so here's my thing. There's two things here, two claims she's made that can be verified. Sometimes they're a little bit more difficult to verify depending on who the gym is. But this text message thing, you should be able to go to the phone company and disprove immediately, because that should just be record, right? The gym thing could be a little bit more difficult. I would go if this were me here, and I was being accused of working out with some strange woman behind my wife's back, and I knew it wasn't true, I would go to the gym and say, let me speak with the manager. I would inform him of my situation and say, can I please get the security footage for the day she's claiming this happened? And then I would bring that security footage home, and all of a sudden credibility goes bye-bye. Now, there's a chance, if it's a bigger chain, that maybe not only are they not going to let you have it, that manager may not even have access to it. So that gets a little bit more difficult. You got to go up the chain of command. You may even have to involve a lawyer, but if it's your wedding, or excuse me, if it's your marriage, how far are you willing to go to save it when it's being sabotaged like this? Says my husband was ready to take a break. He even stayed with his mother that night. The next day he came back with his daughter to get more clothes, and I got her to admit she was lying, that she faked it because she didn't like me. We got into a huge argument. I got so mad. I said, you were willing to end our marriage, you little bitch. The second I said that, I knew I shouldn't have. She's a child, but no, she's a child, but she's 16, right? This isn't like I broke the lamp and blamed it on the dog. You're old enough at 16 to know, right? You're old enough to get a job. You know, you're old enough to be in a relationship in some states with an adult at 16. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just looking at how the law says it. But when you say she's a child, let's not act like this is an 8-year-old that said this. This is a 16-year-old kid. Again, they do stupid shit, but this is not an impulsive teenager doing something stupid. This is a diabolical, premeditated plot to destroy your marriage. This is not, oh, she's a child. She's a little cunt. She's not even a bitch. Says, she's a child. I got so outraged. I later apologized, but she ran away to her mom's house, left, and none of us could find her. Then her mom showed up and tried to cause a physical altercation. Her excuse was she's just a kid messing around and that I needed my ass beat for talking to a child like that. My husband even says I was wrong, but understands why I said it. Am I the asshole? First off, so there's a lot to unpack here. Why is the psycho mother, I would get a restraining order against her, first off. Here's the other thing. If, like, again, we're not talking about I broke the lamp and framed it on my little brother or the dog or whatever. This is an evil thing to do. This is an evil, to lie about someone to destroy their marriage. This is a dark and twisted, premeditated thing to do. This is not something somebody does in the heat of the moment. She saw you at the gym, and at some point between seeing you at the gym and going home to her dad to tell him this story, she hatched this plan and carried it out. It wasn't just that, though. She faked screenshots and showed them to your dad, or to her dad, which takes a ton of work. There's all types of premeditation. It goes without saying, right? So she's got multiple lies that she's taken very, very specific, calculated steps to carry out. This is not someone who's just an impulsive, stupid teenager. This is a sociopath. There has to have been some sign that there was something wrong with her. Other things she's done, she said, et cetera, maybe not to this degree, but nonetheless things she's done in the past that could have tipped her husband off that maybe I can't trust her. How long do you give this marriage? Over, under 2.5 years? Under. Because if he's willing to trust the narcissistic sociopath daughter over his wife, I don't know what to tell him. And this kid is going to continue to destroy relationships the longer you trust her. That's all that's all there is to it.
I wonder if this is his first relationship after the divorce, or if there's been others and she's like sabotaged those as well. So yeah, I don't think it says anything about that in there.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like the baby mama's a real class act, too. So I'm sure she gets some of it from her. Oh, my God, guys, stop marrying these piece of shit women just because they'll give you a little bit of pussy. I see this all the time, guys. Stop. Guys will get married to these women who it's the first one that'll put out for them, give them a little bit of tail, and it's boom, I got to marry her now. You fall in love for absolutely no reason. You don't even know these people, and you marry them, and they ruin your lives. They ruin your lives. I'm telling you, when the young kids, when I say young kids, I mean like 18, because I'm getting old, 18, 19. When the young kids in the gym ask me for advice in the sauna because I'm the old wise one, I always tell them, they're usually guys, so it's usually guys, so it's usually a woman that I'm speaking about. But I always tell them the single best and worst decision you can make is picking a woman. It truly, they can support you to get to new highs, and this is obviously goes both ways, or they can drag you down to the pits of hell. Now you can marry one, and the marriage falls apart and you get away. But the second you involve a child with this woman, she is in your life for good. You have attached yourself to a succubus, my friend, and there's no getting away from it. Not only have you attached yourself to a succubus, you helped spread the seed of that succubus. And if it's a daughter, you probably created another one. And now you've got two succubi is the plural. You've got two succubi that are going to be attached to you until your dying day, my friend. That's not a good place to be in. For the love of God, actually start vetting the women you guys are marrying. Seriously, if you guys ran a company with the same hiring standards that you have for picking a spouse, your companies would be bankrupt in 6 months. Best case scenario. best case scenario, because the only qualification about 3/4 of you guys out there have is, will I get my dick wet? And that's it. And the second you get the answer yes to that question, usually when they don't put up, usually when it's not even any pushback or anything like that, you don't even got to work for it, you marry him. You marry the first girl that'll let you get your dick wet. Not for any religious or noble reasons or anything like that. Just because you're horny fucking losers that don't know how to talk to people because you spend all your time on TikTok. For the love of God, stop knocking these trashy women up. I am begging you. I am begging you from the perspective of society as a whole. We need you to stop. This society cannot continue to exist at the level it does if you guys continue to fuck around with thoughts like this. What's the song? She belongs to the streets. If she belongs to the streets, guys, just give her the boot. Put her on the streets. That's where she needs to go. Do you have anything you'd like to add to my rant? Or are you just watching the Grammys through the neighbor's window?
Taylor Swift didn't win Record of the Year.
Who won Record of the Year?
I don't know, some black guy.
Oh, damn it. They're taking our jobs. DEI at the Grammys. Okay, I'm sure we'll talk about that on Saturday. Anyway, that has been our show. We will see you guys Wednesday. Good take, bad take. Remember, we do that the first Wednesday of every month. Cheat on your taxes, not your spouse. And stay based.